You look tired, like my husband before he left. The words landed softly, almost like steam fogging the cafe window, and yet they struck him harder than any boardroom insult ever had. The CEO froze with his coffee halfway to his lips, eyes lifting slowly to meet hers. Outside, rain traced thin silver lines down the glass, blurring the city into a tired watercolor. He had chosen this corner cafe because no one came here to look important. No polished shoes, no assistants whispering schedules. Just worn chairs, chipped mugs, and a window seat that let a man hide in plain sight. If this opening already feels like someone you know, stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll understand why some meetings don't happen by accident. And if stories about quiet kindness and unexpected healing touch you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more stories like this reach hearts that need them. The woman stood across from him holding a small tray, her fingers slightly trembling as she balanced 2 cups. She couldn't have been older than 32. There was a gentleness in her eyes, the kind shaped by loss rather than age. A thin silver ring hung on a chain around her neck, resting just above her collarbone, as if it refused to sit on her finger anymore but couldn't be thrown away either. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, color rising to her cheeks. "That was rude. I didn't mean to intrude." "No," he replied, surprising himself with how hoarse his voice sounded. "It's fine." He gestured to the empty chair. "Please, sit. If you want." She hesitated, then sat, setting 1 cup in front of him. "They messed up your order," she said softly. "I thought you could use something warmer." He looked down. Chamomile tea. He hadn't ordered that. He hadn't had chamomile since his mother passed away 10 years earlier. He swallowed, nodded once, and wrapped his hands around the cup as if it might keep him from drifting apart. "I'm Daniel," he said after a moment. "Maryam," she replied. "I work here part-time." "Part-time. I have a son," she said, smiling faintly. "Full-time job already." Daniel smiled back, but it didn't reach his eyes. He looked exhausted because he was. Not the kind of tired sleep could fix. The kind that comes from winning everything and still feeling like you've lost something unnamed. "You said your husband left?" he asked gently. She looked out the window, watching a bus hiss past. "He didn't leave like people think. He got sick. Very fast. 1 year we were arguing about paint colors for the kitchen. The next year I was choosing a headstone." She paused. "But before he died, he used to sit like you're sitting now. Staring at nothing. Carrying too much without telling anyone." Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. "I'm sorry," he said. "So am I," she replied. "For him. And for you." They sat in silence, the cafe's soft hum wrapping around them. A spoon clinked. Someone laughed too loudly at the counter. Life continuing, careless and relentless. Daniel came to that cafe every Thursday after board meetings that left him hollow. He was a man admired by millions, followed by investors, envied by rivals. But admiration is a loud thing, and loneliness is quiet. No one notices it until someone like Maryam names it. "You look like someone who forgot how to rest," she said. He almost laughed. "I don't remember the last time I wasn't working." "Why?" The question was simple, childlike even. It disarmed him. "Because if I stop," he said slowly, "everything I built might fall." She studied him. "Or maybe if you stop, you might finally feel what you've been running from." That night, Daniel went home and didn't turn on his laptop. He lay awake thinking of a woman behind a cafe counter who spoke truth. Without knowing his name, his net worth, or his armor. The next week, he came back. Same window. Same rain. Maryam brought his tea without asking. "My son's name is Adam," she said, sitting again. "He's 8. Thinks the world is still mostly good." Daniel nodded. "I used to think that too." "What happened?" "Life," he said. "And success." She smiled sadly. "My husband used to say success is loud applause covering a quiet scream." Daniel felt his throat close. "He sounds wise." "He was kind," she corrected. "There's a difference." Weeks passed. Conversations grew longer. Daniel learned Adam loved drawing bridges and wanted to be an engineer. Maryam learned Daniel grew up poor, watched his father die of exhaustion, and promised himself he'd never be weak again. One afternoon, Daniel didn't show up. The cafe closed. Maryam worried more than she wanted to admit. The next morning, she found out why. Daniel's company had been hit by a massive scandal. Stock plummeted. Headlines screamed. The lonely CEO was suddenly a hunted man. He didn't come for 3 weeks. When he finally did, he looked worse than before. Unshaven, eyes red, shoulders bent. "They want me to resign," he said, voice cracking. 30 years of work, gone. Maryam didn't say, "I'm sorry." She placed a napkin over his shaking hand. "Do you know what my husband said to me the night before he died?" Daniel shook his head. He said, "If everything is taken from me tomorrow, promise me you'll still choose to be kind." Daniel stared at her. "How can you be kind when the world isn't?" "Because bitterness doesn't protect you," she said softly. "It just keeps you lonely." That night, Daniel did something no advisor suggested. He told the truth. About mistakes. About pressure. About fear. He stepped down not in shame, but with clarity. He walked away from a role that consumed him and towards something uncertain.